Hey there, and happy Thursday. And by the way, it's Christmas Eve. So for a moment, come on in and enjoy my little world for a moment. This will be the last time I share with you before Christmas, and we won't put one out tomorrow. We'll let you have that time. Don't worry about that tomorrow. So come back and share a few things with you in the beginning of next week. For now, let's think about where we are and what we're doing. Now, as I said, it's Christmas Eve. It has a kind of a way of, you look at it, it's a long ways off, and then all of a sudden it's here. It's kind of like kids playing the hide and seek game and saying, ready or not, here I come. We used to do that a lot. Don't do that much anymore. But we like the element of it, the surprise, to go and finding things and looking at children hiding in places, usually after twilight, maybe after dark. There was a great hiding place behind the tomato patch, my parents' yard. Nobody would go in there. Nobody would want to. You came out of there kind of sticky, little prickly things all over you. But that has nothing to do with this. I was thinking about the old Christmas carol that came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old. The angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill toward men. From heaven's most gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. It's a beautiful poem. Not really very accurate in a lot of respects, and yet in some respects it points out that time in which Jesus was born. And there are a lot of people thinking about that right now. Don't know exactly when he was born, what time of year. This has been the chosen date for some, and so people think about it at this time. And maybe there is some good in at least they think about it for a little while, regardless of the date. Remember that Jesus was born. I mean, sometimes we get so caught up in the elements, we miss the value. We miss the value of him coming into the world, even God's plan that brought about Jesus coming into the world. It wasn't a planned and celebrated theme like people try to make it today. I can't imagine that God looked and thought, one of these days they're going to be putting on pageants in church buildings. But something great happened when Jesus came into the world, whatever that date might have been. Paul writes in Galatians chapter 4 and verse 4, but when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman. The great marvel and the majesty is that God came among us. John writes in the beginning of his gospel, referring to him in a special way, he came into his own. He became a part of us. He took on human flesh, as Paul would later write, took on the form of a servant. And in that fleshly existence, he gave his life for us. He came and endured life just like you and I do. Endured the same things we do or the like things that we do. And dealt with life. But he came into the world. You know, in all the hubbub and all the buying of gifts and all the wrapping of the presents and all the adorning of the trees and all the things that go on in this season of the year, let's don't forget, God did something marvelous, something unheard of, something unexpected, something that no God would ever do. He did it. God brought into human flesh a part of himself into that human form in his own Son, Jesus. The life, the vitality, and the hope. That's what we ought to remember. For therein we have something quite special. You know, in our house, when the children were growing up, Christmas Eve was always pretty special. There was one present to open. All the kids knew exactly what was in that present on Christmas Eve. It was some Christmas pajamas. And you wore them, and you got up in the morning, and you were in your Christmas pajamas. But on Christmas Eve, we would get together as a family. We would go out to dinner. And once we came home from dinner, if we could find a good place to go and eat that was open on Christmas Eve, we'd come back from dinner and we would make some hot chocolate. And then we would put on the movie. Once we had a copy of the movie back then on videotape and then on DVD, we'd put on the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and it became our tradition year after year. And we'd watch it again and again. Even if the kids didn't want to, we'd watch it again. And I'd sit and I'd cry, and Paula would look at me and wonder. And it was always a special time, and still to this day. We try to keep that alive, at least with the two of us. It's a special time, but it's not really so much about those things that I'm sharing this with you today. Those are great and those are special. But what I'm sharing with you today is that as we get caught up in our own traditions, our own fun and our own festivities, and as fun and as great as they are, and even in the midst of all those who are talking about the birth of Jesus, let's go back and remember that God had a plan. He brought his son into the world to do the greatest thing for all of us before you go to bed tonight. In the midst of all the thinking about Santa Claus and presents and everything else, remember, God did something great when he sent his son into the world for you and me. And perhaps when we invest that in ourselves, then we find the real gift is in giving ourselves, that others might be blessed. I hope this is a great Christmas Eve for you. I hope you can share it with people you love. And if not, I hope you can have some of the greatest reflections of wonderful times past and even the present. And who knows, even the future. Have a great Christmas Eve and have a great Christmas. As the story goes, and it was the night before Christmas. It's the day before Christmas, and all through the office. The night before Christmas, as Santa rides out of sight. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Happy Christmas to you. I'll see you again very soon.